everybody. I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
And thank you so much for tuning in to this platform. We're so excited to have you on our channel today. This is the place we come together every week to bring you content that we believe will be a blessing to your life. And we're so grateful to have you on our life.
Our journey.
Our truth. And guess what? We want to make sure you like, you comment, because they've been commenting, right?
Yes.
And we've been so inspired by your comments. The things you've shared have really been a blessing to us. And let me tell you something. Above all else, make sure you subscribe, because we want to reach 10,000 or more subscribers before this year is out. We want you to help us. So go out there and share it. Share it with all your friends.
Send it to your family, send it to your friends.
Man, do it. So it's going to be awesome. We appreciate you so much. And we got some cool stuff coming too. So stay tuned on that. We appreciate you. We're going to be talking today about how do you manage expectations.
Yeah.
And that's a broad subject. And but we're going to deal with it from a variety of different perspectives, because I think often many of us, like ourselves, we oftentimes care about people, and sometimes we care a little bit too much about how they feel and think, and at the expense of ourselves,
our
right?
families,
Yes,
our own goals and dreams and aspirations. For
right,
sure, yeah.
right. And so how do you manage that? And so I just want to really begin talking about it in terms of just relationships. I think that often people don't articulate to you the dynamic of the relationship, and so they have expectations that you have not signed up for.
Yes.
Right?
That's
and so
good.
they approach the relationship like, the friendship or whatever the business arrangement like.
With certain needs, whether it be from baggage from childhood or what have you, that you have no clue.
No clue. I've had that in mentoring relationships, for example. I've had people who come to me and, for example, they want me to be a spiritual father, for example. And so my thing is, I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to do these things, not knowing that they have fatherhood deficits and they want me to be much more than I'm capable of being, because I actually have real children who look up to me as their real father, right? And so I can't father you like that if I ever. So I think sometimes you have to know how to literally place limitations on what you're able to do.
And not feel guilty about it. Because I think what ends up happening is frequently we feel guilty about putting boundaries or limiting other people's expectations of what we're capable of doing. So
yeah, I think that's a good place to start. Like, you have to place limitations upon what you're able to do. Like, be honest in that. And I think that's important, because if you don't, then it's a free-for-all. People just come and they pull. You're like, wait a minute, hold on, I didn't sign up for this. And then you're having to manage people's EQ and emotions. And I think it's so important, right? And it's nothing wrong with being honest about that at the beginning of the relationship. And we've learned that, right?
But I think sometimes it's hard though, right? Like, sometimes you don't always know. And sometimes, in all fairness, the other person may not also know that they're levying those expectations on you.
That's right.
Because it's just a part of who they are and how they operate and how they flow. And so part of it is being friend enough to make the observation, friend enough to then say, hey, I notice that this is the way that you're needing me, but in this season, I don't even have the capacity to do X, Y, and Z. I love you, but...
That is capacity, right? Because it's the capacity, because I'm doing you an injustice if I co-sign on something that I don't have the time capacity, then therefore I'm constantly failing you. I'm constantly letting you down. So having that conversation about capacity, I think softens the blow in terms of really being able to talk about limitations.
And it allows them to go find that somewhere else. Right.
Absolutely. Right. Because all the things you have going on, I think it's important. So you have to be honest and really about your limitations and be very clear about that. And I think one of the other things I think that's important too is you think about, for example, when you come into certain roles, in professional roles, right? You came into a role, first lady of a congregation. People levy expectations. Are you going to be over the women's ministry? Or you're going to do this? Or she's going to do that? And you're like, yo, time out.
All of that.
Right? How do you articulate with a sense of empathy, based upon, as you talked about, people's, not being aware that they're
well, I think
presenting
you
way.
Definitely have to honor the role itself,
there it is,
right?
Yeah.
So you honor the role itself by speaking to the fact that you understand what it means, what it stands for. You're operating with the sense of clear integrity and respect,
Yeah.
but at the same time being able to say, look, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And if God called me to be in this place and space, and he called me, and so this is how I feel comfortable operating, no apologies necessary, clearly. It's just about giving yourself the permission to be you in that space. But then, again, helping people manage their expectations by being clear, articulate, and politely direct.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good point, right? To understand how to explain with clarity, to explain.
Yeah, you don't have to, when you're explaining to someone, you don't have to apologize.
Yeah,
you don't have to say, well, I'm sorry because.
No.
No, there's no apology.
Right.
Like, this is who I am. I respect this role, situation, or what have you, but this is who I see myself being in this season. Because again, seasons change too. So giving yourself the leeway and the permission in the doorway to be able to ebb and flow how you feel like God is leading you.
And one of the things I've learned is that often when people ask for you, they're asking for you because they studied you, they know who you are. So fundamentally, I can only show up as myself.
Yeah.
Like, even though, people invite me to speak, I can only show up as myself. I don't try to, redact that, change that. So they know what to expect because they invited me to do what I do. And so I think that's so important when you think about the roles and responsibilities you have to live in that place of authenticity and to be honest about the place where you feel most comfortable. Because if you find yourself morphing into something that you're not, you're creating these disingenuous kinds of arrangements, and it's uncomfortable for you, and it's really painstakingly uncomfortable for those of us who watch it, because we know that you're settling, you're morphing into something that you're not.
But even if you're not a pastor, and even if you're not a first lady, like if you're a leader in your organization and it's a new hire or a new position or what have you, again, they called you to be you. I think, especially as women, especially as people of color, we try to, when we're moving into those spaces where we've been elevated, we try to, I won't say shrink, but we try to morph to fit the role that we think people are expecting of us. And the reality is, don't be afraid to bring your full self.
Full self.
Don't be afraid to bring all of your giftings. Don't be afraid to, bring your swag to the table. Like whatever it is that makes you you, that's why they called you.
That's it.
And sometimes we step into those roles and unfortunately we don't even meet the expectation because we're not being ourselves.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. This is going to be a good one. Y'all ready for this one? Drum roll. These children. Woo! Managing these expectations with these children. It is something, right? We have a son, his name Joseph IV, that his love language is what? Giftings. So it's always about, am I going to get, sometimes it's like about calling me and I have to persuade him and say, I got something for you. He'll turn around.
Then he'll show
remind
up.
you. He'll remind you of it.
Yeah.
And like this idea of like really, and this is going to help parents, it's going to help many of you, like how do you manage these expectations that you don't create a slippery slope
of raising a spoiled child.
Raising a spoiled child, man, and really helping them understand that you're not going to have this. You're going to work for this. You're going to. We're just not doing that, and that's something we're learning.
Yeah,
and it's not always easy.
Yeah, because technically, if you have a spoiled child, it's your fault, right? It's because of what we as parents are doing in terms of constantly giving. Sometimes we give because we're tired and exhausted, and we just don't want to hear them screaming.
Go by.
Something, but whatever it is that they are. We've probably created that.
We create that monster.
And we're guilty of that too.
Oh my God.
I think part of it is trying to figure out like what kind of human being you're trying to raise. One of the things I read recently was, whatever you are doing on a regular basis, you're actually practicing to be that person in real life. So that goes for kids too. So if they're always talking about gimme, and the expectation is that they're going to get everything that they ask for, then that's the person that they're going to be when they turn into an adult. How tragic is that?
Jeez.
Not knowing how to not get what you asked for.
Wow. We literally, here's the point, you really are creating character in real time.
Yeah.
You are creating character in real time. Your decisions are doing that. And I think it's important because one of the things that our parents did, man, it was very obvious that they were like, hey, this is not going to happen. Things like, what is there to eat? What's in the kitchen?
Right.
Well, I want McDonald's. No, what's in the kitchen?
Right.
So you better go in there and fold a piece of bread over a wiener. You better figure out something, because we're not about to keep running to Chick-fil-A and running to McDonald's because you having a fit. And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
And I think you said something that's so important. That sometimes we do it because we're tired.
Yeah.
We do it because
sheer exhaustion.
It's sheer exhaustion.
It's just easy.
Solves a
it's
problem.
easier to give in than to have them have a tantrum in public or in the middle of a conference call.
Yeah, and you got to realize, like, you're creating this character, right? So every single day. But I think it's also important to understand the values that you're placing in your kids about work, right? About how you accomplish and arrive in these things. I heard this wonderful thing. You've heard it too. We talked about it. This guy says, my dad walked 10 miles.
Oh.
My granddad walked 10 miles to work. My dad walked 5 miles. I drive a Mercedes. My son will drive a Ferrari. My grandson, he'll probably end up walking. Because
each generation makes it easier and easier for the next generation, to the point where the last generation is lazy and will ruin everything
because they don't
and then have to start over again because they have no work ethic. That's like really poignant.
Real important as well, because see, my dad, man, there was never a day I grew up with my dad did not go to work, and I saw that,
same.
and I went to work with my dad, cleaning windows and buffing floors, and so I'm always cognizant of telling my son, telling my daughter, you got chores to do. Come, empty out the trash. Let's get this stuff. It's Saturday. Let's clean the house.
Clean
you
up.
gotta create that, because if you don't, you create expectation that the nanny's gonna do it, or somebody's gonna clean up behind me.
Yeah,
or the
our son is 5. And he knows, first of all, he knows how to obviously work all the electronics.
Oh, my God.
He knows how to work my phone. I have Amazon account on my phone, so he likes to go shopping on Amazon, to the point where he actually has bought like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff that we've had to return because he knows how, yes, he is correct, thousands that we've had to return.
A bunch of chairs shut up outside our yard. A bunch of chairs. I had to take them back. How many? Was 7?
It was 6 chairs.
6 chairs. $4,000. I'm like, who bought this? This boy.
He had accidentally put 6 chairs, Dallas Cowboy chairs, in the Amazon account, pushed purchase, and they showed up at the front door. Of course, we were able to send them back, thank goodness.
Jesus.
But that was a hard lesson for him. The look on his face when he realized that those things actually showed up, like he wanted to crawl under a rock. He will never do that again. But my point being is that when he does want something now, he knows that he has to pay for it. So he has a little piggy bank. He earns his little money. He has to go to his piggy bank, count how much money he has to see if he can actually make that purchase. Sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. And best believe, I'll pay for it with my credit card, but my hand is out waiting for those dollars to come back to me, because they have to learn that it costs you something.
Yeah, that's so real. That's so real. All right, so we're getting around the holidays, right? And you got family. We're sitting up here trying to figure out, like, many people watching us now, like, okay, who's going to get a gift? People have expectations.
Where are you going?
Where you going? You're going to do this. And how do you manage that? Because that's a lot. And we have a lot. And we think about just the level of sheer exhaustion and trying to just be centered and focus on our family.
And let the main thing be the main thing for the holidays, which is love and caring and being around family. So.
People want to come, boy. And we love that. We love our family like you love your family. But then how do you set these boundaries around people? Like, you guys going to host a party? Everybody wants you to host a Christmas party and host 3 or 4 Christmas parties. Or she says that's me, though. And everybody, and but just setting those expectations around giftings, about not going in debt, about not just, everybody's got to get a gift. I mean, sometimes you just got to you bless people all year long. At some point, you got to say, Merry Christmas. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
I just feel that way.
You're
grown. You got kids. You're grown, but you're waiting on. And so we've just learned, and we've even done it for ourselves. Like this year, we decided, watch this. We just said, how many gifts we give each other? 1. We said that. Now, guys, never believe your wife when she says that. But remember, I'm getting 1 thing, but never believe she wants 1, even though she says it.
Amen.
But we set out to say 1 gift. because we were just trying, like, look, man, we just did so many different things. We did a lot of things around the house, man. We got a lot of things we did for the kids. And so you have to, like, once you set your expectations, you have to stick to it. Maybe that's the point, like, stick to it. Like, you cannot vacillate, letting your emotions, your heartstrings pull you away. You're taking random trips, and then it's costing you all this money. At some point, you got to say, what are we going to do? And we're A-type, so we plan this stuff. We literally sit down, like right now, we're planning for 2024.
All of our trips.
Year, all our trips, and we're using points. See, this is what they don't understand. Man, okay, let me give y'all a life hack.
Baby, teach.
Let me tell y'all something. You might see us rolling. You might see us sitting up in Delta first class, be like, man, they balling. You don't realize, bruh, we be using these points. I be using frequent flyer miles. I cash them in for vacation for my family. We stay in these wonderful hotels because I maximize my points. And man,
you gotta work smart.
Man, we be working smart. We can go to Paris and probably spend $400 and be in 7-star hotels because we use these points. So you gotta know how to leverage stuff. And so don't be out here getting it twisted. We're not out here like splurging like that because we are very frugal. And we plan. I think that is what helps us, because once we plan our schedule, then it helps to reset expectations of other people. Because they know we're not gonna be here for that.
Well, and speaking of frugal, and I know this is a little bit off subject, but I will say this, something that I saw the other day that was just so poignant. This guy said, rich people stay rich by pretending to be poor, and poor people stay poor by pretending to be rich. Like, let that sink in. And so, do we have? Yeah, we have. But we are super frugal. We are super cheap. Like, we will use points to purchase gifts and trips and travel, all of that, so that we already spent the money. Like, use your credit cards and things wisely. Make sure that you're maximizing the point system, et cetera. Because that means, and for the holidays, we're not spending money for the holidays. We're using all the money the points from the money that we spent all year to finish the year clean and strong.
And you know what else we do? Here's another life hack. Here's what we do. Let me tell them, this is so funny.
Go ahead.
We will give each other purposely. We open up Christmas Day gifts for our kids. Then we will wait to after Christmas and get all the sales, 40% off, and be like, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, right.
That's what we do.
Because what is Christmas really about? Like, it's about being thoughtful, it's about being loving, it's about being giving. The kids, yes, the kids. But for other adults, I mean, the expectation is, did you think about me? Great. All right, let's roll, you know?
That's right. We be getting that 40% off all the time. I'm trying to tell you, 40, 50, 60% off because they can't get rid of it, right? So y'all better learn how to do this thing right. So expectations matter. And I think that for you, for us, what we have learned is that we refuse to sacrifice our goals, our objectives, our mental health, our family core on the altar of someone else's expectations. We want to make sure we're honest about, our limitations. We want to share with clarity our capacity. We want to communicate with people. And at the end of the day, man, you got to understand character is happening in real time. You're creating that in your children. And I think you're also creating an environment around you that once you set expectations, people will approach you as such.
Yeah, and
they know what's important.
Ultimately, people will respect it.
They will respect it. Because if you don't respect it, they won't either. Well, this has been a good one, babe. It's been a good one. You ready to go shopping? No. Catch them sales, right? That's what we gonna do. Anyway, y'all, we love y'all so much, and we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And you know what? I hope this has blessed you. If you have any questions, make sure you put in the comment section right here. It's all about expectations, and we appreciate you. I hope this one has blessed you. Well, make sure you follow Dr. Steph. She's full of wisdom, and she got all those coupons and all those she can tell you where all the sales are. And follow me.
Coupons, but yes, I can tell you where all the sales are.
Joseph Walker 3. I can tell you where the sales are too. But no, more importantly, we can help you manage expectations. Thank you so much. I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Be blessed.